What's the darkest place you ever found yourself in? I left a suicide note on my best friend's kitchen counter and walked to the nearest bridge to end my life. I didn't expect anyone to notice, but someone did. For the last 5 years, I've been sleeping on Jordan's couch. Not because we're close, but because I have nowhere else to go. I had no job, no money, and no future. Just a cheap bottle in my hand and a head full of regrets. I'd ruined every friendship except his, and he let me stay, even when I drank too much or yelled at him for no reason. I even used his stuff, stole his food, and lied about looking for work, and I told myself he didn't care. But I was the one who didn't care. Every night I stared at the ceiling and felt worse about myself, and that night I couldn't take it anymore. So I wrote a short note saying I was sorry and that he deserved better, and then I walked to the bridge. I leaned over the edge staring down at the dark water, and then I felt a hand grabbing my arm. And before I could even turn around, I heard Jordan's voice. I didn't know he got off work early or that he read the note, but he did, and he knew exactly where to find me. And he didn't yell or ask questions, he just held onto my arm and told me to come with him, and I broke down. I cried the entire way home with big, loud sobs and told him everything. That I shared my thoughts online, that I didn't see a reason to keep going, and that I didn't want to be his problem, but he just kept driving. When we got back, he walked me to the couch, sat down, and let me cry into his chest, and I fell asleep in his arms like a child. When I woke up the next day, he was still there and didn't go to work or make me talk, he just stayed. And a few days later, he told me to come with him because he had something for me, and I thought he was taking me to a doctor, but we drove to an old warehouse. He talked to someone at his job and pulled every favor he had and got me a part-time cleaning job. And it wasn't fancy, and I smelled like bleach, and my hands shook because I was still hungover, but I showed up. The first week, I nearly quit 3 times. I got dizzy from the alcohol withdrawals and panicked in the bathroom and forgot how to do simple tasks. But Jordan kept asking me to try one more day for him, and I did. And then one Friday, I picked up my first paycheck. It wasn't much, but it was mine. And I used it to buy dinner for both of us. And that was 4 years ago. I haven't touched a drink since, and I go to therapy once a week and paid off my credit card, even the stupid gas station one I forgot I had. And I got promoted to shift lead, and Jordan cheered louder than anyone. Then I met someone with a sarcastic laugh who wore boots in the summer, and somehow she liked me, and we dated and got married last spring. And Jordan was my best man, and he cried more than I did. We bought a small house with chipped paint and a broken mailbox. And last year we had a baby girl and named her Hope, because why not? Last month I got a phone call, and it was my cousin who I hadn't talked to in years. His voice was shaky and he was cold and didn't know where he was and needed help. So I drove through half the city and found him curled up behind a gas station dumpster, hugging his knees. And his hoodie was wet and he looked like I used to. But I didn't hesitate and brought him home and gave him a blanket, a hot shower, and a sandwich. He looked at me and asked why I was helping him. And I told him it was because someone once saved my life and now I get to save his. But he started crying. The same ugly cry I did that night on the bridge. And that's when I realized Jordan didn't just save me, he made me someone worth saving.